Good evening, everybody. It is Saturday evening. We didn't have any plans this weekend, so I'm going to take advantage and mount a solar powered floodlight in the rabbit coop. This Harbor Freight floodlight camera, I've already got my materials I'm going to need, but it's solar powered. I love everything solar powered. And it works actually quite well. I had this in my little, basically I call it lean-to garage. It's just a little, that thing over there. That's what I'm using for a garage right now. But that way, we can have some light out here we can see. And I've got those. They do a decent job, but sometimes you can't always see what you want. So that's why I'm taking this out, because I don't really need it over there. And we're gonna put this in the rabbit coop. Take this little mounting bracket off. I'm going to mount this probably up there. It's hard doing this one-handed. One day I'll get a camera. Okay, hang on real quick, folks. Okay, there it's mounted. I went and got another board. I mounted it to that board. But the problem is it's shooting straight out that way. So, turn the light on. See what it looks like. That's enough light. See if I can't skew it this way a little bit. Bend the bracket and turn it just a little bit. Well, that's good. Alright, now I gotta mount the solar panel portion of it. And it's got a really, really long cord on it. I guess that cord's, I'm guessing, 10 feet. Maybe 12 feet. Okay, there she goes. Ooh. And it is a motion sensor light. I got this from Harbor Freight. I think it was on Harbor Freight Savings Digital coupons. I think it was 20 something bucks, and it was well worth it. It works pretty good. But it does have a motion sensor on it, but I'm gonna need it out here. And the off and on button is just around here. You can either turn it to motion sensor or on, or in the middle is off. I'll just wrap the cord around there. Instead of using zip ties. And the solar panel is right here out front. And it'll get plenty of light here. And that project is done. Okay. These are rabbit cages. Just extra hay. And I really like these cages a lot compared to the recycled cages that we were using, or the lumber, recycled lumber that I used. There's nothing wrong with using recycled lumber, but I didn't like the way I built the cages. They were built out of pallets. And then the only thing I spent on it was wire. I used recycled hinges and everything. But these are 10 feet long. They're 4 holes, meaning they have 4 cages in them. They're 30 by 30, I think. But they're really nice. There's one of our Palomino females. We just bred her about a week ago. This is another one of our Palomino females. We bred her to our male chinchilla. And this is Mean Mama here. She's the only rabbit I got that tends to be a little mean. Come here. She will rear up. See, she's getting defensive now. She's reared up and tried to bite my wife a couple times. And she's reared up at me. But I think she may be our first dinner rabbit. And this is Deuce Bigelow, the rabbit gigolo. But he's a sweet boy. He's a good rabbit. Sorry. He always comes up the door and visits me. He's done well for us as far as breeding. But these cages are all the same size. Now these over here, I had a guy in Mississippi make these for me. These over here are a little different than these right here. Same size, same dimensions as far as the outside perimeter of the cages. But we have a buck stall here. And we don't have our buck in it. This is Velvet, our little mini Rex that we rehomed for somebody. We're gonna start breeding her. I gotta get a male mini Rex. But that's the buck stall. And that wall there is to keep him from spraying. But I've got him down on the end. That's where he likes to be. And these have drop down nest boxes in them. And the nest boxes pull out. And you can either put a panel there to make it a regular cage when you don't want to use the nest box, or just keep it like this with the nest box in it. But it works really well. I like it a lot. That way I don't have to put a nest box in there. I don't have to go buy one. I don't have to build one. I don't have to clean one. This was the same way. All three of these cages, as you can tell, there's a wall, and then there's a wall on this one. So these are a little bit smaller. And this is another chinchilla female rabbit. And here's our babies. This right here is a grow-out pen. And it's for the babies when they get old enough to be weaned from their mom. And that's why those are a little bit shorter, because it's got extra space in here. I have an automatic watering system out here, and I've got a nice fan for them because it gets hot in Florida. This is just made with cattle panels and like a hoop coop design. I use a lot of this plumbers. What is it called? Plumber's hanger is what it's called. And I got that from Living Traditions, their channel. And it's a great idea, and he says he uses it a lot. Thank you, buddy, I appreciate it. I used a ton out of it since I saw you use it. I got this design from him also. He built a hoop coop a little while ago, and I copied the design from my quail pen. And I thought, well, hell, I could just do that for the rabbit pen, but it got a little squirrely with the dimensions because I needed this wider. And these kennel panels are all the same size, 16 feet. So I had to do something different with the dimensions. I had to use 2x6s on the bottom, except for that front piece. That way it'd raise up them about another 3-4 inches, because this is only an inch above my head. I'm the tallest person in the family, so. But these are our babies. That's the black one's a little girl, and then that one is a little boy. And this pretty girl here is a female. And Chunky over there is a little boy. And my wife wants to keep that one. I'm calling her Midnight. And this one, Macy, little 4-year-old named, our little daughter, 4-year-old daughter named Rose. Or Rosie. And that one right there's got blue eyes, so I might want to keep him. Now, we did get these rabbits to start a meat rabbit production for home. But as it worked out, my wife gets attached to them. I don't, but my wife does, and the girls do. And I found another outlet. I started selling them as pets, and then I also started selling some to some of the pet stores. So our last couple litters we've sold them that way. We can still use them as meat rabbits if we so choose. That one's probably going to be in the freezer soon, or on the grill. And then I'm going to cross them with those palominos, because they, from what I understand, they do a little bit better in the heat than these chinchillas. We have lost about 5 or 6 babies this year from heat, and that's an error on my part. I probably shouldn't have bred them in the middle of summer, and that's when I started breeding, because I was excited to get going, but it was a mistake. A buddy of mine that's been breeding them for about 10-12 years, he doesn't breed. He breeds from September to May, and so that's on me, but I won't make that mistake next year. But those 2 girls down there are pregnant. Our palominas are pregnant. She just had a litter, and that's the litter we lost. And the black one, gray one, and the light brown one are hers. And then the big chunky gray one, the big male, is Mean Mama's. And then Deuce is the daddy to all of those. Hopefully I'll be getting a Rex rabbit here soon. I'm a male, so I can start breeding them for the pet stores. But we have a nice clean area for them. They're well taken care of. They got plenty to eat. Lots of fresh water. Speaking of water, I use a water system. And I'm new at this YouTube stuff, so I'll try to put a link down in the description of where I got the cages and how I built the hoop coop and this watering system. Now this tank, it's a 15-gallon tank, and I got it from a guy in town that sells them for 10 bucks. Now I keep the water full. When it gets down to 3 gallons, just mark 3, 6, 9, 12, all the way to 15. I don't fill it up till it gets down to 3, and that way the water stays fresh. And they actually go through it here in summer. It's really hot here. Now this watering system I got didn't include the tank. The tank I bought separately. But this spigot, the hardware, the nut inside, all that, from this part all that down to the hose, to the water nipples and the cage hangers, I bought online from a rabbit supply company. And it was $49, I think, $47. But I've got it ran to all the cages. It comes with, I can't remember exactly how many, 10 maybe, 12, 15 of the nipples, the springs, and the cage hangers. And then those tees right there, it came with a bunch of them, about 20, 25 of those. And it comes with 100 foot of this 5/16 ID hose, meaning 5/16 inside the diameter. And I haven't had any problem with it, except every once in a while, when you're installing the nipples, if you tweak the hose or the end that goes towards the nipple, if you manipulate it too much and it stretches out, it will leak a little bit. But so I learned to be careful when I attach it to the nipples, and I haven't had any problems since. But I've got those hung, and then in the 2 nest boxing cages, I've got 2 nipples. Got one high, and then move mine. It's okay. Come here. Come on. Let's go over here. There we go. And then I had one low for the babies. And when they're turned about 2 to 3 weeks old, more like 3 weeks old, I start putting their nose up to it and pressing the nozzle so that they know the water comes out of there. And then my wife puts this in there for them, and they do drink out of it too. And that's easier to wean them that way, and that way I know they're drinking. And then as far as hanging the cages, I got these S-hooks from Lowe's, this wires from Lowe's, and I like keeping the cages clean. That fuzz, I'll take a bottom of a broom off the handle, come out here and brush the cages. And then underneath, I've just got a mixture of hay, the hay that falls from the cages, old hay out of the goat pen over there. If they don't eat all their hay, I'd take it out and throw it out here. And this this rabbit area, this rabbit coop, it doesn't smell at all. I can't smell any urine, any feces whatsoever. I am going to set up a solar system. I've got batteries in there, and I'm going to mount a little box over there, probably on that pillar, not outside by the watering tank, but hanging off the pillar. And that way I'll run an outlet in here from the battery, and I'll have a solar panel on top to charge it. And I can't say it enough, I love solar electricity. And it's I hate running that power cord out here because I have to move it every time I mow the lawn. But as far as the roof, it's just a tarp, and this mesh on the side over here, it's a Harbor Freight tarp, but it's mesh tarp. And I've got that starting about right there and down. I did have a full tarp on here. Even with the fan, it was a lot of humidity in here, and really humid. There was really no airflow from side to side, so I went and got that tarp, cut it in half, and now they have airflow. But what it does do is it stops the rain. When we have our tropical storms down here and our daily thunderstorms, and we get our wind and sideways rain, I've been out here in a tropical storm just to see if this mesh tarp was going to keep the water off of them, because I don't need the babies getting wet. And I wanted to see if the wind would push the rain through that mesh tarp, and it didn't. There was not any moisture on the back of the cages, so that was a good thing. So the mesh tarp worked, and it promotes a lot of airflow through here. But I really like this setup. It wasn't very expensive. The cages, the one without the nest boxes, were $125, and again, I bought that from a guy that makes them in Mississippi. And then the one with the nest boxes and the cage was $145, so I couldn't make them for that, because I did try an attempt to making cages with J-clips, and I did make the cages they were originally in, but I probably spent about $100 at least on wiring J-clips and J-clip pliers and all that. So anyway, I like our new setup. It works really well. It keeps out the rain, and they're protected, and it facilitates what we need it to.